I think all of us agree that Tadej Pogačar is the best cyclist in the world. His stats on Pro Cycling Manager are outrageous but deserved. 84 mountain, 85 medium mountain, 83 hill stat, and it just keeps going. Only one stat under 76, and that's sprint. But Tadej Pogačar also rides for the strongest and richest team in the world, UAE Team Emirates. Joao Almeida, Juan Ayuso, Adam Yates, Del Toro, so much talent. But what if Pogačar did not ride for the best team in the world? What if Pogačar rode for the worst team in the world? I'm using the World TB 2025 as my database, available on the Steam Workshop, and the absolute worst team in this database is Velo Bursa Team, a Turkish team with 0 stars. Their best rider is Aydin Köfteci, and his best stat is Mountain, 62. So I think it's fair to say Tadej Pogačar is a little bit better. Anyway, let's add Pogačar to this team. One thing is certain, Velo Bursa Team is not at the bottom anymore. Here we go, I found them, Tadej Pogačar as part of Velo Bursa Team, and I gotta say, I'm kinda surprised they only have 1.5 star. Because Tadej Pogačar should get you an instant 4-star rating. This 26-year-old Slovenian man can beat up every continental team combined. Now obviously this is not the end of today's video, I'm planning to go through multiple seasons in career mode, simulation style, to see what this team can do with Tadej Pogačar as their leader. Does Velo Bursa Team remain a continental team endlessly riding against the likes of Bodyrep and Utsumiya Blitzen? Or does this team climb the ladder, eventually becoming a pro team? Let's find out! Okay, as you can see on the right, Tadej Pogačar has a contract at Velo Bursa Team until 2040, so the rest of his career. Looks like he's unsurprisingly starting off with a Turkish calendar, Antalya, Aspendos, Tour of Alanya and the Apollon Temple Grand Prix. Tadej's problem is, these are all sprint stages. And Norman Vatra's sprint stat is 73, which is higher than Pogačar's 71. So actually, in these first 2 races, he might not have an easy time. Anyway, I'm gonna simulate towards the end of March to see how well he's done. Okay, March 30th, 2025, Tadej Pogačar has ridden his first 4 races for Velo Bursa Team. The question is, was he able to win one? Turns out I underestimated our man because he won his first race. On a flat finish, he outsprinted the competition. And Tadej Pogačar also won his 2nd race, and his 3rd race, and his 4th race, absolutely dominating the Turkish Conti scene. Norman Vatra was so embarrassed that he decided to break his own shin bone to never have to cycle against Pogačar again. That being said, I'm not sure what happens now because those are the only races on Pogačar's schedule. Is Pogačar really not gonna race for the last 7 months of this year? Okay, July 1st, 2025, and yes, Tadej Pogačar raced more. Victory number 5 in a row in a hilly one-day race. And after that, his highest profile race yet, the Presidential Cycling Tour of Turkey. Winning stage 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So a massive 6 stage victories and GC and points and KOM. But next up, the Slovenian National Championships. Winning the time trial by a single second on Primož Roglič. And he also took home the road race. 6 months into the season, already 14 victories in total. Let's see what that number is at the end of the season. Okay, October 20th, so basically the end of the first season for Tadej Pogačar at Velo Bursa Team. And to no one's surprise, he kept winning. Literally every Turkish one-day race he rides. Whether it's a mountain stage or a sprint stage. But his last 2 races of the season were the World Championships and the European Championships. And Tadej Pogačar lost the World Championships to Remco Evenepoel. But the European Championships, that he did win, ahead of his former teammate, Juan Ayuso. In total, 23 victories in Season 1. And actually, his team only had 23 wins, so every single win was a Tadej win. But the major question is, were these victories enough to bring Velo Bursa Team to the Pro Team division? For context, the team has to be in the top 35 of the UCI team ranking. And sadly for Pogačar, they finished 36th. 1 spot too low. That is crazy. This means that Tadej Pogačar will have to spend another season in the Continental Division. But I'm also wondering, having taken Tadej Pogačar from World Tour to Continental, what happened in World Tour? Let's take a look. Okay, at the Giro, a 1-2 for Red Bull, Roglič and Daniel Felipe Martinez. And Remco Evenepoel is the winner of the Tour de France 2025, ahead of Lipovic and Tobias Halland Johannessen. Meanwhile, at La Vuelta, Jonas Vingegaard won ahead of Landa and Ciccone. Matteo Trentin won Milano-San Remo, Jasper Stuyven, RVV, Mike Teunissen, Paris-Roubaix. Jonas Vingegaard wins LBL, and Jorgensen wins Lombardia. Gotta say, it is quite funny that Tadej Pogačar is still nominated for the Velo d'Or, despite mostly farming Turkish continental races. Anyway, that's it for Season 1. Not the outcome Tadej Pogačar and the team were hoping for, but maybe he can do better in Season 2. At his new age of 27, Tadej Pogačar is ready for his 2nd season at Velo Bursa Team with the same 4 races on his planning, from GP Antalya to GP Apollon Temple. For the 2nd season, Velo Bursa Team actually signed a new climber for the team, Burak Abay. 69 mountain, 70 hill stat, that's quite an upgrade. Tadej Pogačar could not be happier. Hopefully Tadej Pogačar's 2nd season will be good enough to bring the team to Pro Team status. status. So, June 1st, 2026, and Tadej has ridden 7 races, including 2 stage races. But this time, he actually lost one of the one-day races. To be honest, Nahom Zerai, Eritrean talent, humiliated Tadej on a hill stage. Pogačar should not be losing stages like this. Anyway, Pogačar won the Tour of Turkey for the 2nd time in a row, with less stage wins this time. But this year, he also rode the Tour of Sakarya for the first time. Absolutely dominating it, 4 stage wins and GC. So, pretty solid first half of the season, but is the team on course to become a pro team? At the moment, no, they are 37th and need a top 35. So yeah, the team and Pogačar need to step it up. Okay, I spent half my day simulating so far, but October 25th, 2026. And actually, I bring some great news. Tadej Pogačar actually stepped up, winning the road race and ITT in Slovenia, 3 Turkish one-day races and a stage race, including every single stage. But most importantly, Tadej Pogačar is the world champion 2026. And I gotta tell you, the World Championships, that gives a lot of UCI points. In total, Tadej Pogačar scored 24 victories in 2026, so 1 more than the year before. But is it enough to bring Velobursa team to the Pro Team division? The answer is a massive yes. 32nd, top 35. Tadej Pogačar single-handedly in the span of 2 years brought the worst team in the world to Pro Team. But I am quite surprised that the team is basically doing no transfers. This is the only rider they signed, and he's not exactly talented. But actually, while UAE Team Emirates was struggling without Pogačar in 2025, they have won their first Grand Tour again at the Giro d'Italia with Joao Almeida. And the runner-up from last year, Florian Lipovic, has won the Tour de France. And somehow, Laurens de Plus won La Vuelta. Gotta say, without Tadej Pogačar, World Tour is complete mayhem. That being said, the monuments are pretty realistic. Milan MSR, MVDP RVV, Wout van Aert Paris-Roubaix, Ben O'Connor LBL, and Hirschi Lombardia. Anyway, I can't wait to see what Tadej Pogačar does in his 3rd season at Velobursa team in the Pro Team division. So, June 15, 2027, Tadej Pogačar is now 28 years old, halfway through his 3rd season at Velobursa team. But something's wrong. This season, he only has 6 races on the schedule. The racing schedule of the team is extremely limited, because, well, Velobursa team outgrew the smaller Turkish races. Somehow the team did get a wildcard for the Amstel Gold Race, but that is it, no other new races. This means Tadej Pogačar has less races to work with. As usual, Tadej Pogačar dominated every Turkish race, and a massive milestone for Velobursa team, Tadej Pogačar won a World Tour race, the Amstel Gold Race. And just like the World Championships, Amstel Gold Race gives a lot of UCI points. But at the moment, Velobursa team is sitting on the 35th spot, so barely in the top 35. There's a realistic chance that this team relegates at the end of the season. So Tadej Pogačar, my friend, you're gonna have to win the World Championships again. Anyway, let's find out if Velobursa team and Tadej Pogačar managed to survive as a pro team. Okay, the end of season 3 is here, October 30th, 2027. Tadej rode 5 more races this season, starting off at the Slovenian NCs, UCI World Championships and the European Championships. The Slovenian time trial he won by a single second once again on Jakob Omerzel, a super wonder kid from Slovenia. By the way, for the Slovenians out there, how do I properly pronounce his last name? Because this guy is also super talented in real life. And actually, in the road race, the same one too. Once again, a Tadej Pogačar win. And I have to say, Tadej Pogačar came in clutch for this team, with a podium on a flat World Champs ITT, and in the road race, a podium in a flat sprint. Lastly, also winning the European Championships. That being said, because of the limited schedule of the team, only 16 victories this year. But the question is that enough for the team to survive as a pro team? Yes, indeed. 32nd, so once again, top 35. But if they want to do better next year, they'll have to do some transfers. Oh my god, they have. They signed 1 billion Turkish riders. The best of which is Yunus Ersoy, 75 flat stat, which... that's not very useful. But hey, the team has a sprinter now. And a Turkish couple rider. Gotta say, I didn't even know those existed. But certainly, going from 10 riders to 20 riders is a massive improvement for the next season. My prediction, they will easily survive the Pro Team division. Meanwhile, in World Tour, Adam Yates has won the Giro d'Italia. And Remco Evenepoel won a 2nd Tour de France. Wait a second, Matthias Vacek won La Vuelta? To be honest, his stats are super strong. 79 mountain, 77 medium mountain, 77 time trial. Strong in every stat. Matthias Vacek in 2027 is an absolute monster. Jonathan Milan once again won MSR, while Mes Pedersen won RVV and Roubaix. LBL was won by Isaac Del Toro, and I think he might be able to do that in real life in a couple of years. And lastly, Lombardia was won by Vingegaard. Anyway, let's take a look what Tadej Pogačar and Velobursa team can achieve in their 4th season. Okay, the start of season 4, and this is quite interesting. The schedule of Velobursa team is still quite limited, and the way it expands is not by riding .2 or .pro races, but by by adding World Tour races to the calendar. Omloop Nieuwsblad, Amstel Gold Race, Tour de Suisse. Anyway, unless Pogačar gets injured, that should easily be enough to keep this team in the Pro Team division. The question is, how high can they finish? So, October 30th, 2028, so the end of Season 4. Tadej had a fantastic start to the season, winning Omloop Nieuwsblad, but not every race went that well. Only 6th place at Amstel Gold Race. But Tadej Pogačar did dominate Tour de Suisse with 5 stage wins and GC. Once again Slovenian time trial champion, and he also won the road race. But after that, it went sideways. At the World Championships, yes, it was a sprint, 18th place. And the European Championships, even worse, 23rd place, once again a sprint. This year, only 15 victories for Tadej. Wait a second, Gustav Wang scored 36 victories? Oh my god, my dude is doing every single African race. Winning 9 stages and GC at the Tour du Faso. Anyway, that's off topic. For the third year in a row, Velo Bursa team finished 32nd in the team ranking. In a year where I expected them to step up. And transfers wise, yes, gradually they're signing better riders, but I kind of expected their team to be better by now. It's like the game only allows Velo Bursa team to sign Turkish riders. And well, those are a bit limited. Meanwhile, Joao Almeida riding for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe wins his 2nd Giro d'Italia. And Remco Evenepoel his 3rd Tour de France. And at La Vuelta, Juan Ayuso wins. And once again, Jonathan Milan wins Milano Sanremo, RVV for MVDP, Thibaut Del Grosso Paris-Roubaix, and actually stats-wise he's not that OP yet. LBL is won by Vingegaard and Isaac Del Toro takes Lombardia. But after 4 seasons, I'm starting to get doubtful whether Tadej Pogačar will ever see World Tour again. Let's see what happens in Season 5. Okay, January 1st, 2029 is here and Tadej Pogačar is 30 years old. But actually, I'm starting to get hopeful, because the calendar of Velo Bursa team has expanded. Omloop, Brugge de Panne, E3, Amstel Gold Race, Tour de Suisse, Copenhagen Sprint, and the Tour of Britain. If Tadej Pogačar rides and wins most of those races, they will finish high up in the team ranking. But the question is, how high? So, halfway through Season 5, and it's time for a crisis meeting. Big trouble. Tadej Pogačar is barely performing, winning just 1 out of 5 classics. And as a consequence, Velo Bursa team is in trouble. At the moment, they are 38th on the team ranking, not even in the top 35 anymore. Tadej Pogačar has 6 months to put this right. Otherwise, the team might get relegated. In total, I've spent over 10 hours simulating to this point, but October 30th, 2029. And actually, this is the first time I noticed, but Tadej Pogačar's stats went down. 75 recovery instead of 76, and 81 barrier instead of 82. Not the greatest changes, but the cracks are showing. Anyway, when it comes to results, Tadej Pogačar's second half of the season was also not perfect. That said, he did dominate Tour de Suisse 4 stage wins and GC. And of course, he won the Slovenian road race and the time trial, but he rode a pretty anonymous Tour of Britain, 15th in GC, with 0 stage victories. At the World Championships, a podium spot, somehow Frederik Wandal won? Gotta say, I'm not sure how that happened. Pogačar did win the European Championships, but his first monument for the team was a loss, 2nd place, behind Felix Engelhardt. 9 victories for Tadej Pogačar in 1 season, that is disappointing. But actually, this is the first year where he's not the only winner in his team. Kaan Özkalbin won the Turkish National Road Championships. That's a milestone for this team. And despite not winning as much, Tadej Pogačar is getting results in big races, resulting in Velo Bursa team being 29th on the UCI team ranking. 3 spots better than the last 3 years. The question is, are they building up the team? Okay, disappointingly, the answer is no. The team does have 27 riders now after 5 seasons, but it's still Tadej Pogačar and 26 Turkish riders. That should be the title of this video. Hola, AJ August won the Giro for Ineos. Those are solid stats for a GC rider, and he has not hit his ceiling yet. Remco Evenepoel won his 4th Tour de France, and Ayuso once again won La Vuelta. Pretty sure Vingegaard only won 1 Grand Tour in these 5 seasons. And once again, Jonathan Milan wins MSR, Mes Perez in RVV, Mathieu van der Poel Paris-Roubaix, Christian Scaroni wins LBL, and Felix Engelhardt Lombardia, of course. Anyway, time for Season 6. Tadej Pogačar is now 31 years old, and his stats keep going down. 81 hill stats, 74 recovery, he's losing his feathers. But Velo Bursa team is striving with their best calendar yet. Let's see how they do. So, the end of Season 6, October 30th, 2030. Tadej Pogačar's stats have properly dropped now, 81 mountain stat only. And despite some terrible results like 116th at Dwars door Vlaanderen, Pogačar is still winning. The Amstel Gold Race, Criterium du Dauphiné including 4 stages, and his first monument for the team, Lombardia. This year 11 victories, so 2 more than last year. But Velo Bursa team once again finishes 29th in the team ranking, so I'm losing hope. I've got a feeling the dream is over. I don't think Tadej Pogačar and Veloburša team will make it to World Tour, especially because their transfers are just so shit. This team is literally still Tadej Pogačar with 27 Turkish riders. Like we're going nowhere like this. Anyway, in World Tour Almeida won his third Giro, Evenepoel his 5th Tour de France, and Paul Sixas is now at Sudal Quickstep and won La Vuelta, on his way to become the best rider in the game. Talking about the best rider in the world, it is not Tadej Pogačar anymore. Jonathan Milan is now the best rated rider. I've said it a few times already, but our man is losing his feathers. Anyway, one last chance, let's take a look if Tadej can do it in Season 7. The start of 2031, and I gotta say, I think it's over. The calendar of Veloburša team is becoming smaller now. Sounds like elderly Pogačar is not that appealing to races. I've got a feeling this team is heading to relegation. So, October 30th, 2031. Tadej Pogačar is now 33, and for the first time, he's got a stat under 70, sprint 69. But like, he's still a competent rider, which is why he's still winning races, for example the Dauphiné. But this is the first year where he gets beaten at the Slovenian road race by that same Slovenian wonder kid Jakob Omerzel. And because he farmed a couple of victories at the Tour of Turkey, he still has 11 victories. As a consequence, Veloburša team survived one more year in Pro Team. But to be honest, I'm giving up. First of all, I've spent my last 2 days simulating on Pro Cycling Manager, and I've got better things to do. But most importantly, Tadej Pogačar is getting worse at a fast rate, and the team around him is not exactly getting better. So in a couple years time, Tadej Pogačar won't be able to save this team from collapse. They will simply relegate back to the Continental Division. By the way, Joao Almeida and Remco Evenepoel won the Giro and Tour again. Honestly, their dominance has been really impressive. But about Pogačar, when I started making this video, I was dreaming of the roadway back to World Tour. In the end, Tadej Pogačar wasn't able to do it, but I do think Pro Cycling Manager held him back. Or at least held the team back from forming a team that is not just dependent on Pogačar. Because transfer-wise, Veloburša team is doing a game of musical chairs with Turkish riders. So I feel like the team has hit its ceiling. Nonetheless, I actually enjoyed making this video, seeing Pogačar evolve and the world around him. Anyway, lastly, Tadej Pogačar, please don't join Veloburša team. Simply stay in World Tour and keep entertaining us. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.